basically, what I talking about that. What I wanted to ask Jane, there have been a couple of questions that they have been left unanswered. And if Jane, I can have you, or Milos, I can have you there. And it is about basically one question that I was before. If you can comment a little bit, this gives the room a little bit more for space in time, more than your presentation. Apparently, there was a comment that in the press 2 days ago, Boca Place offered passports for free or something like that. What are your views, or can you explain something about it?
Yes, indeed. Boca Place has been approved as a project. It's a project of Porto, Montenegro in the south. So we have not started to actively sell this project because we don't see yet the clear strategy from the developer how to position this at the market for citizenship program, because the minimum requirement is 450 and the majority of apartments in this project are much higher. Of course, for some clients it can work, but at the moment we are still finalizing the sales strategy and how to promote in the market. So the project was approved just a few weeks ago.
Okay, brilliant, excellent. Thanks very much, Jane. Indeed, I believe that there was another question for you, but it's more about collaborations, basically, about the company that will contact you soon. It is on the Q&A. You can find them there. Just wanted to mention that.
I just want to mention that Montenegro's special program versus other programs in the market for the reason that there is only a handful number of companies which are licensed agents by the government. So, but at the same time, we're very happy to develop collaboration avenues with different players in this market: professional players, professional citizenship players, real estate firms, legal firms, private banks. So we are open for collaboration. So if anyone is interested in this program, please get in touch and we will find the best way for everyone.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant to know. I believe that is a great option. Montenegro is a great addition to the investor migration panorama. And basically, what I wanted to ask you, we'll go a little bit more towards my right, to Andrei and Dmitry. They are in Cyprus. Just to grab, I mean, both your presentations, they were great. I think that were complementing one each other. And basically, what I wanted to ask you is your views, because, with all this COVID-19, this post-pandemic world, the effects that it is having in the markets and so on and so forth, how do you feel that it is affecting the real estate side of things? How do you think this will, come in the next 6 months or 12 months? In terms of the real estate sales, how do you see the real estate market there?
Well, if I may answer or start answering that, through our partners, and generally I see a lot of deferred interest, and demand. In fact, if we're talking like the end of 2019, we had quite a high number of clients lined up to go for site viewings. And of course, they said, okay, let's wait for the better weather. And the better weather started in March. And, in mid-March, we had no flights. But generally, if we're talking about real estate market, when something that we perceive as a crisis happens, then there's quite a large portion of people who say, oh, the price is going to go down any second now, But in fact, what goes down is the number of deals, Especially in this situation, we were able to, let's say, get the deals to a particular point, even with remote viewings and online signing of documents, etc., etc. But we still expect the potential buyer to actually come and see the buildings themselves. And so the number of deals is dropping a little bit, but the demand actually builds up, And so regarding the actual physical real estate market in Cyprus, I don't foresee any any big movements of the price, especially as we know in our particular segment, the prices are actually tied into the amounts that the investor is supposed to spend, whether 2 million or the 300,000 for the passport or for the residency accordingly. So, that's one thing. Another is, with the Cyprus investment program conditions changed just recently. Before, the investor was supposed to hold the property just for 3 years. Now it's 5 years. Again, I don't anticipate that the government will start changing this program too soon yet again, So there shouldn't be any significant effects of the current situation on the prices.
Brilliant, excellent. Dmitry, anything that you would like to comment, to add?
I will add two small comments. One is we're experiencing an increased interest, not in the family protection pieces, including the passport. And I think it's because when people see that there is force majeure situations for which you need special arrangements, people understand they need to do something. Basically, I think what happened sent a signal: if you're gonna do something, do it now. Stop enough waiting around. That's number one. And number two, regarding pricing of the Cyprus real estate, because we're a top tourist destination, I already mentioned 4 million tourists last year, and because of the oil and gas companies, because of the casinos, because of a lot of IT interest, Cyprus is becoming, okay, I'm not going to say Silicon Valley, but there's quite a few IT companies coming, Israelis, Russian, Ukrainian, and so on. So what is all that? People need to live somewhere. One thing we all realized is there are certain basic necessities, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So where is the house? I think it's like on the second stage. So plus the tourism, this means that the right properties in the right locations, you are practically guaranteed that you will be able to rent them out from an income point of view. Andrei also mentioned this about the season in Cyprus. I mean, I have people who say, no, I don't want to come in August. I'll come in October, November, when there's nobody, there's less people and it's the velvet season. So I do not see downward movement in Cyprus real estate pricing in the foreseeable future for sure. Will there be an increase? I do not believe there will be any sharp increases. There's no reason for it to be so. I do not think the increase in demand, I'm talking about investment properties, will be so rapid as to result in an increase in prices. So I see steady as it goes towards the positive.
Indeed, and there is something which is very important. We see it as well in Malta at the end of the day. We see it in the Caribbean and actually in places like Montenegro, small countries basically, but more than ever in Ireland. So at the end of the day, when you're investing in real estate in an island or in a small country like Montenegro, you're investing more a selective area like can be the Algarve in Portugal. You're investing in very, very small, teeny, tiny spaces. I mean, you cannot make Cyprus bigger. You cannot make Malta bigger. I mean, how you're going to make Montenegro bigger? I mean, you have to annex another part of the country. The same happens with the Algarve. You need to gain land to the sea. I mean, you can do that in Dubai, fair enough, but that is not everywhere else in the world. So I think that when people they are thinking about speculating or whatever it is that what they do not realize, it is that when they are buying properties or they investing through a private equity fund in order to qualify for the Portuguese Golden Visa, what they are doing, they are buying something that is much more valuable than buying, an apartment in any other place, in a big... I come from Argentina. Today I was laughing because you, Dmitry, were mentioning about Argentina default. And actually we defaulted 11 times in the course of our history. St. Lucia never defaulted in his 45 years of existence. So, I mean, I trust much more investing in government bonds in St. Lucia and getting citizenship there than investing in my own country, basically for government bonds, honestly speaking. But at the end of the day, properties in my home country, they are big. I mean, they're just like, in the States or whatever it is. Why? Because we have loads of land. And when we are building land in my home country, it is the cheapest part of it. That doesn't happen in Europe. That doesn't happen in Montenegro. That doesn't happen in Cyprus or in Malta, especially in Montenegro. I mean, if you're going to build a resort in the mountains, a ski resort, building there is also very, very tough and very difficult. If you're going to build in Cyprus, in a hill, it is also challenging because you need to have, load of difference in place. How is that? I mean, you have rock soil, you have soft soil, load of different things. And all of that, the same happens in the Algarve, basically. I mean, how is that soil? I mean, how exclusive it is that part? People need to understand that when they invest in real estate in these places, they are getting a portion of something that is very, very valuable. It's not going to get bigger, basically.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you, Andres. And I just wanted to add that clients should not look at just as real estate investment, because it's not just this, it's investment in the legacy, the future of the family. And by this investment, clients get so many freedom of travel, freedom of choosing where to be. Plan B, especially for clients with different countries where they cannot rely just on one government. Today, you are in favor of the government and they like you. Tomorrow, they don't like you, and you never know in this life what's going to happen. So
it is an asset class. It is an asset class indeed.
Yes, so for this reason, it's always good to have options. And second passport citizenship gives you options. It can give you tax option, give freedom the option, and freedom to travel. So it's just for the future, for the family.
Absolutely, absolutely. And basically, Pedro, I would like to ask you something, as we are covering as well real estate, and stuff. How do you see the situation? Because I mean, the Portuguese golden visa, I understand that during the first semester, like all the programs at the end of the day was a little bit more tricky. Then they started to increase, that side of things. How do you see the real estate market in Portugal, or basically those private equity options that lead to a golden visa? How you see the development there in your country? Pedro, we cannot hear you. Sorry, you're muted.
Sorry. It's interesting because we experienced in May one of the strongest months ever in applications for the golden visa. After the COVID situation, people really, like Jane was saying, feel that they need a new passport or a new country to have at least the opportunity and the choice to go to. In terms of real estate, of course, the part of tourism has been suffering, but it's more in terms of occupancy levels than any other thing. There continue to be projects in Portugal concerning the tourism sector. In terms of residencies, there has been a huge, demand for home residencies in Lisbon and in Porto mainly, the two main cities of Portugal. And we haven't seen yet prices coming down. I think it was Dmitry that said that prices don't go down. I'm not sure if it was Dmitry or Andrei. Prices don't go down, the number of deals goes down. And that's basically what it's also going on in Portugal. But recently, and especially in June, after the economy and the society started to reopen slowly, it's interesting to see the comments from the real estate agencies. A good number of Portuguese nationals are looking for a second house in the countryside. Suddenly, because we don't know yet how this teleworking is going to be in the future. We will probably have a new way of working in the future with more flexibility, with people being able to stay at home some days or some weeks and work from home. And of course, if you have a smaller apartment in the city, it's more difficult to do that because of space and because of you have your family around. If you have a nice, larger house in the countryside, you are able to, as I said before in my presentation, the mobile and the internet coverage of the country is 99% with 4Gs and now with the deployment of 5Gs. So it's been a good number of interest in a second home outside the city and going to the countryside and just if you don't need to be in the city to go to your workplace every day, why not go a little bit outside and enjoy the nature and be closer to the sea? And so therefore, there hasn't been from the real estate agencies like, ERA and all the big companies, they are not suffering anything with this COVID situation. And as I said, the news and the data shows that prices are not coming down yet. The bad spot, of course, is tourism, because there you see a decrease in prices. The prices that hotels ask for 1 week in the Algarve this year is not as high as they would ask in previous years when they had full capacity, full occupancy. But outside the tourism sector, which is very specific, and of course was the most affected sector for Portugal with this pandemic, the rest of the real estate sector has been fairly calm.
Brilliant. No, that's fantastic. Jane, anything that you would like to add in terms of real estate in Montenegro?
I want to also agree with Pedro, because we also do Portugal, and I must say that the demand for Portugal is only rising. And I've been also personally analyzing performance of the property market in Portugal, especially Lisbon and Porto, two main cities, and the dynamics only rising. There is no fall. And of course, there was a decrease in number of transactions during COVID, because physically people cannot come to the country to see the properties, and not many people want to buy just from the picture and from brochure. But the demand is rising, and if talking about the citizenship segment, we know that Chinese are very much keen for Portugal, and based on the statistics, half of the applications were from China. So the same story we can see for Montenegro. Montenegro and Portugal are super crazy popular with Chinese, and this citizenship demand also drives the market and makes prices only rising. Because in Portugal, unlike Dubai, as you mentioned before, the supply is limited and demand is high. So that means the prices are only rising.
Well, just a little curiosity in terms of golden visa applications in Portugal. Of course, the main nationality requesting these golden visa applications come from China. In second place in Portugal is Brazil, and this is natural because of the language ties with Portugal. And interesting enough, in the last 2 years, the third nationality requesting golden visa applications is Russia. So those are the top three for the past, I think, roughly.
Actually, I can add up to this. Now we see the rising demand from British for Portugal, because now they are getting this divorce Brexit deal, and they are wondering how they're going to freely travel across Europe. And we see the number of applications, number of demand. They cannot still apply because the deal is not finally completed. But we think that from January they will be able to apply. And you see that historically British consider Portugal and Spain as their second home for summer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, right now, they have until the 31st of December, where Brexit is just basically going to happen. And then there will be, at the end of the day, third country nationals. And at the end of the day, the smarter guys, which are looking at that plan for the next 6 to 12 months, they're saying, okay, I'm going to be ready. I'm going like clients with Dmitry, they are looking at that 360 degrees for what is going to happen the next year, 2 years, or whatever. We have clients that they are working toward the next year because they want to get covered for that EU access, or also to say, well, I mean, I'm going to take advantage of the NHR regime. And look, I mean, why not? It is a great opportunity. So I mean, those are trends which I believe that for Brits and us that we are in Malta, we are seeing it, and we have seen it more in terms of relocating companies and relocating individuals from basically Ireland and mainly the UK, because at the end of the day, up to now, they move. Same language, same British, some sort of British mentality at the end of the day, and that's it. But then, I mean, from December onwards, it's going to be a little bit more tricky than that. One question here.
One more thing, just I wanted to add. When we look at the investments in real estate and investments in citizenship, what is very important at the moment is also consider tax thing. Because now after COVID, many governments are interested in getting more tax from their citizens. And we can see the signs in different countries at the moment. So there was lots of talks in the media about the China scrutinizing their tax regime for export Chinese. We see the same story in South Africa. And more countries...
Argentina put up the wealth tax. Chile is thinking the same. The UK is thinking the same. I mean, at the end of the day, somehow these governments that they are big and they have loads of spending and they do not have programs like these ones that we're discussing today, they need to sort out their fiscal balance. At the end of the day, from where they are going to take money out. There is no, I mean, people are not paying VATs right now. People they are not making many transactions. People they are not taking the cars. People they are not flying. People they are not. Okay, where do I going to take money? Okay, we are going to tax the rich. And actually, there was I think there was a manifesto around a few weeks ago that was signed by 58 or 68 ultra high net worth individuals saying, please tax us, which was actually quite interesting to read. But they are saying, well, I mean, at the end of the day, right now, the governments, they need our money, and philanthropic causes like it was at the beginning of the year, it is not enough. But I mean, how that is going to affect the rest of ultra high net worth and millionaires? I mean, if they are going to be taxed, because in Argentina, for example, obviously the government is the person that decide who is wealthy enough to pay a tax. And that's where the tricky thing is. I mean, how much is going to be a person wealthy in relation to whichever government? 1 million, half a million, 10,000, 10 million? That puts a lot of questions in the head of the rest of our advisors and ourselves, on the clients that we advise. And the best thing is to take action and be ready now to do that sort of plan. And basically, we have a question actually here, and this goes actually for Pedro and from Jane. And basically, it's asking if did you have clients or applicants from Ukraine in Montenegro or Portugal over the past couple of years?
I'm trying to find that information as we speak, but it's not easy. No, I don't have that exact number on top of my head. I don't even know exactly how Ukraine ranks. I only have the top 3, but it shouldn't be any different for Ukraine than it is, for example, for Russia.
Yeah, I mean, it is Ukraine. It is also Ukrainian nationals are also quite a strong nationality in terms of investment migration, I would say. I mean,
yes.
In terms of CIS, I remember seeing them. I mean, I don't have the numbers in my head, but I had advised when I was back in London quite a few Ukrainian nationals and Russian nationals and so on. So I mean, I think that has been a great chat. I think that, I mean, in terms of what we have been able to cover today, it is that needs of a planning, basically. That's what Dmitry talks about, what Andrei talks about, with you, Pedro, Ardon Capital, ourselves. We discuss, to our clients, the need to start strategizing and start taking action. So basically, that's handle that open doors, which is citizenship and residence planning, that gives tax advantages, that gives that edge, that alternative assets, that opens tax optimization, that opens in some cases confidentiality, in some cases wealth preservation, has many different facets. And I think that with the COVID-19 pandemic, we can, in the industry, I mean, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we were talking about a plan B. Right now, we're talking about an asset because it is not a plan B anymore. And I think that the people that 3, 4 years ago, they had that mindset of thinking about 5, 10 years in advance. Right now, they have been able to move and to have, their safe havens within Europe. I mean, the applicants that you have advised in Cyprus, in Portugal, in Montenegro, and they can move there. They can move to a place which is COVID-free. I mean, in Malta, for example, in Cyprus, I mean, the confinement was confinement, but people could go and walk on the streets. In Spain, you just basically, at least in Malta, was like that. I see you there, Dmitry.
I'm nodding because yes, we could walk in the streets. Yes.
Yeah. It's just basically go walk in the street. I mean, in Spain, it was not like that. I mean, in Spain, you just basically you go out once per week to go to the supermarket, and that's it. I know that for my parents, 2 or 3 months locked in your house. I mean, that's tough. When you are in those type of places which have a more resilient healthcare, more like, for example, Portugal. I mean, Pedro, you were mentioning before, when you compare it with Spain and with Italy and with France, neighboring countries, the response of Portugal against COVID has been massively fantastic compared to those countries. Obviously, I mean, you have more risk because you are not isolated like Cyprus or Malta are, fair enough. But I mean, you have that Montenegro COVID-19 free since 2 or 3 weeks ago. I remember seeing the post of our marathon on LinkedIn, basically, welcome to Montenegro, first COVID-19 free country. Those sort of things. I mean, they are choices for loads of different clients. But the important thing, it is taking action and making those plans. So I'm seeing that we have a couple more questions here, and if you think we are 10 minutes past the last time. So basically, this comes from Portugal and Montenegro, which are, and I will extend these actually to Cyprus, which are the top 3 countries. Basically for Portugal, Montenegro, and Cyprus, according from your experience. What would you say? Basically, Portugal, Cyprus, and Montenegro, please, in that order.
Well, actually, as I mentioned before, the top 3 would be China and Brazil and Russia, and the 2 other countries that follow are from Turkey and South Africa. So those are the top 5, and are the main applicants for golden visa in Portugal.
Indeed, South Africa, great.
I would say I wouldn't say particular countries. Let's say I would put the same way. Russia for sure. China for sure. We established very nice network of agents, and they just talk to people, and people are really interested in the passport in 3 months. And also Middle East. But Middle East, I wouldn't say one particular country, but Middle East is across the region, because passports here don't provide many options for travel visa-free, and people need second passport because of instability in the region. And what is the beauty of Montenegro program? I forgot to say about it in the presentation. There are no restricted countries by law. So that means even Iranians theoretically could apply, but unfortunately there are only 2 nations which cannot apply, which are Iranians and North Korea, for the reason of due diligence, not for the reason of law. So that means Iraqis, Syrians, Egyptians all apply, Sudanese, and they may not apply to Caribbean countries or to Malta, but they can apply to Montenegro.
It's quite an interesting fact, because I mean, some, as you were saying, I mean, certain jurisdictions, Caribbean countries, Iranians are completely banned, or ties with the country and so on. So this gives quite a good option.
Even Iranians can apply if they live outside of Iran for 10 years.
Similar to what Dominica has. That's good. That's very good. What about Dmitry and Andrei? What about in Cyprus? How do you have for there?
Well, no secret that Russia is on the list, because Cyprus is traditionally very comfortable for Russians. for valid reasons. Many things tie these two countries, and there's been, I would say, a significant cultural, people, business exchange between the two countries, political, over the last 30 years, and even more, actually going way back to the birth of the Republic of Cyprus. So Russia is on the list, China is on the list, Ukraine is on the list as top three. Andrei, feel free to add or correct.
Yes, I would agree generally to that. I would probably list first joint place is China and Russia. Then I would say Russian-speaking countries like Commonwealth of Independent States, Ukraine, etc. And yes, Jane is right. Certain countries of Middle East as well. Yeah, that's our experience.
Pedro, do you have, in terms of Portugal, do you have any, can you comment if there are any restricted nationalities, as Jane and Andrei were mentioning, respectively, Montenegro and Cyprus?
I'm sorry, I don't have that information. So
No.
I'd rather not speculate on anything than, I'm sorry, but that will probably, if you have another question for somebody else, I can try and look that up really quickly if I can find it, and I'll share with you. If not, you can send me that question afterwards, and I'll try and get the answer. Okay?
That's not a problem, because I mean, for example, what happens here in Malta is that, as Jane was saying, I mean, here in Malta, for area people, obviously for MRVP, certain jurisdictions are restricted. You know, Iran, Iran. You have Nigeria. You have a list of 6-7 countries, Afghanistan, and so on. Which make things a little bit more complicated. Then you have your source of wealth, your source of funds, due diligence. You know that. But it's quite it is quite thorough in terms of due diligence. But at the end of the day, the important thing is knowing where we can take our clients in terms of have a second passport, a second residence, a combination of both. At the end of the day, there is something that it is non-compliance, it is jurisdictional risk, and you cannot escape your passport, you cannot escape the place that you are born, but we can certainly find alternatives. You know, as my dad always says, since I am 6 years old, you cannot choose everything in life aside your parents, and he couldn't be more right, to be honest with you. So yeah, I mean, I think that's basically it. So I think that from our side we are fine. I don't know if you would like to add anything. Any comments, guys? Please feel free to do so. Andrei, if you would like to start.
Yes. Thank you. Just to summarize in like under a minute or less even, to all of the participants, to everyone who listened to us, the message is second citizenship, as well as investments into property, require serious expertise and knowledge, because you cannot really, tread lightly on things that affect and change your own life and life of future generations. So we say welcome. With any questions, come to me and my esteemed colleagues for consultations.
Thank you very much, Andrei. Dmitry, would you like to do some closing remarks as well, please?
Of course, thank you very much. The one thought I want to share is it's wise to prepare for things. Victory loves preparation, and we all push things off which are complicated or expensive or difficult. But as life shows, it's better to take care of them now and then relax knowing that you've taken care of business. And it's good to do business with a company which can do 360 degrees and has been doing for a long time. So I hope that we can get to speak on a personal level and assist you in whatever it is that maybe interested you from the family protection plan. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you, Dmitry. Pedro, would you like to give some closing remarks as well, please?
Sure, of course. It was a pleasure to participate in this workshop. very interesting ideas across the board. My final remarks is that if you choose Portugal to apply for a golden visa, you have to open an account with the Portuguese bank. So we would like to be that bank for you. And even though we do not, supply real estate services, we are not a real estate agency. We have partnerships with some real estate agencies, and we can always find the best solution for you in the most flexible way. In the case that you don't choose Portugal for the golden visa, come and visit us anyway. It's very hot outside today. It's around 38 degrees and sunshine, so everybody's at the beach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pedro. Jane?
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone who was at this webinar, and especially those who stayed until the end, because I know after 3 hours of listening to this information could be difficult, but thank you so much. And I would say, I wish everyone to be open to opportunities and to be open-hearted and open-eyed. So there is so much here and outside of our countries where we live, where we reside or were born. There's so much we can attain through money, through investments or connections. So be open, look, we are happy to speak with you on Montenegro or other projects. We have 12 projects on our platform, and find you the best solution.
Brilliant, excellent, very much. Thank you very much, Jane. And final remarks as well. Thanks very much to everyone. Thanks very much to each of you for your time, for your thoughts, and for this very fruitful conversation. I thank you very much for it. Thanks very much to the organizers, to Bosco Conference, and thank you very much to our attendees. As basically Jane and all the participants, all the speakers were saying, this is a moment to plan, this is a moment to look forward. And at the end of the day, if you are not prepared, you are not going to make it. As Dmitry was saying, success likes preparation. That's a really, really nice thought and phrase. I will write it out. Really, really like it. So thanks very much, and let's get moving and let's take action. We see you next time, and we hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.